All right, y'all. Listen. Oh, do I even need this? I don't even need this. I'm not listening to anything. What up, guys? It's your girl, ManicMeeks. I haven't done one of these in a long periodic time because there hasn't been a movie that has been able to make me feel animated in a way, and to do a ManicMeeks retelling. But Quantumania is that movie today. So earlier today, we saw Ant-Man Quantumania. It was me, my brother, my friend, and her husbando. And we had a lovely lunch beforehand. A nice, relaxing lunch. We got to take our time to eat our food. And then we went to the movies. It was not, I like renting out theaters. If I can rent out theaters, I'll invite my people. But since I couldn't rent out a theater, it was just the four of us. And we sat down for the ride of our lives. The ride of our lives. Let me just start out by saying, if you're expecting a spoiler-free review, or if you're expecting a review in general, bitch, you've come to the wrong channel. I don't do reviews. I do retellings. I'm going to tell you what happened from the rooter to the tutor, from the beginning to end, from the alpha to the omega. That's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what happened in this movie. So if you hadn't seen this movie, don't watch this. And I'm going to I make it clear every single time. If you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this. I mean it. All right? I mean it. Let me just... Yum. So, Ant-Man starts out as Ant-Man does. Ant-Man is the more comical movies of the MCU. So if you didn't like any other Ant-Man, I can tell you right now, you're not going to like this one. However, I enjoyed the Ant-Man movies because they're funny and they're just entertaining. And that's what this is. This, to me, is the best Ant-Man movie that has ever Ant-Man. Okay? MCU movie, it's middling. It's somewhere in the middle. It's okay. It's not horrible, but it's okay. But for Ant-Man, this is the best movie in the Ant-Man trilogy. Hands down. Period, sis. So the movie starts off with Scott walking around telling everybody how great his life is, how everybody's just appreciative of what he's doing. He wrote a book. He's reading a book to people about how you got to look out for the little guy. He's going to get his free coffee because people think he's Spider-Man. People want to take a picture with his dogs and all this other stuff. And he's just enjoying his life and his partner. I don't know if they're married or not. Hope. And, he's just enjoying their relationship. She's like building things. She's becoming the forefront in technology that is healing and helpful, and she's doing all of these things, and they're flying around. Well, she's flying around in her suit and carrying him, and they're having dates on top of the San Diego Bridge, and it's just like, oh, so cute, right? And then he gets a call because his daughter is in jail, and they're like, why are you in jail? And she's like, because I was doing things. They're like, what things are you doing helpful? And she was like, I'm just trying to assist. My name is Cassie Lang, and I'm here to assist. So it was a protest about, I don't know, I can't remember what they said what the protest was about, but I don't care. Point of the matter is, during this protest, the police officers were doing too much, and she decided to shrink their car. So she shrunk their car and gave it back to them in her back. Like, it was like, boop, it was still running and everything. That's my thing. You had this miniature ass car still running, like the gas going, the lights sirening in your bag. It should have opened to a fire, or it should have opened to carbon monoxide, because the smoke should have been smoking. But eventually they go back to Hank's place. They have a little pizza dinner, talking about things, being a family together. And Cassie was like, well, you just don't know what I'm doing, Dad. I'm trying to help the world. What have you done since you've written your book? What have you done since you went to Germany or the Munich or whatever and fought Captain America? And he was like, hold on, wait a minute. Pump your brakes. You got too much dip on your chip. I didn't fight Captain America. I fought with him. Who fights Captain America? Not me. I'm not crazy. Saying. And so she's sitting there talking out the side of her neck of her dad, and you see Hank Pym just over there like, and then you see his wife like, what is y'all talking about? What y'all doing? And she was like, well, I'm going to tell you what we've been working on. And everybody, well, not everybody, let's talk about it. We're talking about Scott and Janet are like, who the fuck is we? Bitch, who is we? Last time I checked, you was you, them was them, she was she, he was he. Who is we? And so they go down to the basement, to the lab, And she was like, we've been looking into the quantum realm. And we have a communicator locator device for the quantum realm. And if I'd have had this 5 years ago, I would have been able to find my father. But I didn't have this 5 years ago. But now I do. So now we can map the quantum realm. And I'm saying it like that because that's how she said it. She was like, I made this thing and we can reach out to the quantum realm. I'm like, girl, who is you trying to seduce in the quantum realm that you got to say it like that? Neither here nor there. And so everyone was like, oh, wow, that is so smart. You're so intelligent. You're so resourceful. Like, that is such a great thing. You're so intuitive. You're so inventive. And Janet's over there like, what the fuck is, bitch, what is this? It's a what? Oh, so you just, so you playing with the, in the, girl, what is that? It's looking for, girl, what? And so she's explaining what it does, and you can just see Janet in the corner going, and of course, this is what happens when you don't tell people stuff. So she's like, listen, you can't do that. And she turned it on and she was like, we can map this and do this. And she was like, if you don't turn that shit off. And she was like, what do you mean? It's the quantum realm. And so she pulls the plug thinking that, you know, it's going to shut it off. And everybody's like, what the hell is going on? Why are you so freaked out about her trying to like map the quantum realm? Like, we need to, like, this is information that we need to know, especially since we can go there and we get lost. Like, if we can track ourselves back, it wouldn't be a big problem for us to go there and to learn things and to study and stuff. And she was like, Janet was like, oh, shut up, shut your mouth, you shut your mouth, shut it. That's what she was doing. And she was like, we can't turn that shit on. Okay, it's a two-way radio, two-way. Your way is one way. The other way is the other way, and the other way could communicate to us, and we don't want him down here. Now, Janet Van Dyne didn't say this, but I'm going to say it. She was like, we don't want that nigga up here. Okay. Keep him down there. We don't want him up here. And so she rips it out, and people are trying to get her to explain what's going on. And she was like, I'll explain later. We just gotta like think about it, what's going on. And it pops back on. Turns the actual fuck on, swirls around and starts sucking stuff into the quantum realm. And so all of them go eventually. You know, it's like one, like, and somebody else was like, oh my God, I'm gonna save you. No. And then Hope was like, my parents, and the cast was like, help. And then Scott was like, no. And so they all went into the quantum realm. And of course they got separated. Scott was smart and actually held on to his daughter the moment he was like he held on to her as long as he could, and then they got separated a bit, and then he bigabized his body, and then he caught her. But the other three, we don't know what the hell happened to them. So they landed in this quantum realm. And the thing about the quantum realm is, it's weird to look at. You know what I'm saying? It's weird to look at. You know what I'm saying? Super weird to look at. But they had to get their bearings. They had to figure out what in the hell is going on. And they really couldn't figure out what in the hell was going on. All they knew that they was in the quantum realm. And now they got to figure out how to find the other three members of their family and how to get the fuck out of Dodge. Pretty much. That is the long and short of the movie, that we got to get home. You know what I'm saying? 5-0 goes west, but eventually 5-0 got to go back east. You know what I'm saying? He got to return to sender. Little stamp on it. Right on the node. He got to go home. So, then we get to see Janet and them trying to figure out what's going on. They're like, oh my God. And they're hollering, Mom! Mom! And Janet was like, girl, if you don't shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. Like, I think it was my favorite part about Janet. She was walking around for the first half of the movie like, girl, if you don't shut your fucking mouth. Because she knew what was going on. She knew what was going on and she didn't tell anybody. She was like, oh my God, I'll tell you later. I just can't explain things right now. Yes, you can. You're stuck in the quantum realm. You have plenty of time to enunciate and project the situation that your family fell into because of Cassie's bullshittery. You know what I'm saying? You got plenty of time. But she didn't do that. And so when Hope, Hank, and Janet finally got together, there was this thing searching the area. It was like a blue light. They were searching. And she was like, be quiet. Don't say nothing. Don't move. Freeze. Freeze. And so the thing went by and it scanned them. And she was like, we got to get the hell out of here. We gotta go. We gotta go right now. And so everybody's confused. And Janet is like, just follow me, shut up and follow me. Just gotta get the hell out of here. And so we go back to like Scott and Cassie, and they run into like some people and they get snatched up and they get taken to a village where there's a whole bunch of other people, and they're just screaming in this different language, and Scott is panicking and nobody knows where Cassie went, and they put him down on his knees and he is screaming like, somebody help me. He's looking like a muppet because he's like, ah. And then you see the cutest little globbity gloop walks up to him, and they're talking and stuff that we don't even know what's going on. And then Cassie pops around the corner, drink the goop, drink it. And Scott is panicking, like, drink the what? Like, she's looking like she's got blood coming down her face, but it's just the goop. And eventually Scott finally, takes a mouthful of the goop, and he's holleration in his dancery. And then he realizes that he can understand everybody. So I don't know how that works, but that's pretty cool. So we get to meet these little like cluster of freedom fighters who are out here trying to like save their lives and save their people and band together, because the entity that is in charge has like shut shit down for them, destroyed worlds, destroyed their places, got their asses the fuck out of there. And so they're like, we're trying to get together, we're trying to fight back. And they're like, okay, cool. And Cassie, she's like, we got to help everybody tip. I'm here and I don't know what's going on, but I'm here to help. I'm here to assist. And so they're asking questions, not really asking questions, but the guy who can read minds is reading minds. And he was like, y'all, they don't know what's going on around here. They're not from around here. You know what I'm saying? They ain't from around here. And so eventually they figure out that they're from Earth. If you know that reference, it's good for you. It's good for you. And then they're like, you know what? Maybe you can help us. And they was like, well, we got to find our people. We got to find Hope and Hank and Janet. And they were like, skirt. Who? Did you say Janet? Janet. We know a Janet. And there's like, you know a Janet? We know a Janet. Yeah, our friend Janet. Or, well, our family member Janet was lost down here in the quantum realm. We just got her home. And then there was like, Janet. Talking about Janet Van Dyne? That Janet? And they were like, yeah, nah, y'all gotta get the fuck out of here. You wanna know why? Because Janet is public enemy number 1, and the entity that is in charge is looking for Janet. And if they are looking for Janet and you came in with Janet, that means they're gonna be looking for you. And they're looking for you, they don't come here. And we don't want you to come here. We want you to go away. We want to keep our people safe. We don't want you to bring the smoke, okay? We are flame retardant. We don't need that smoke. Go away. Go away. And so while they were getting ready to shoot them away, of course, the people who were looking for Janet came through, and they was blowing stuff the F up. Okay, they were fucking around and finding out. And they were getting real pissed because, as everybody was running, Scott and Cassie ran too. And I was like, why didn't y'all run the opposite direction? They was looking for you. You might run the opposite direction, try to spare some of these people. But no, they ran into the crowd with the people. And the houses and buildings were trying to suck up the people. Not like suck up the people, but like house the people so they can escape, because they were flying houses that were moving and sentient. And eventually they got snatched. I mean, as they should have. They got snatched. And we got to see that Cassie has a suit, and her suit was suiting, and it was real cute and all. But she didn't know how to use the suit. She was still learning. Like, she wasn't effective like Hope and Scott were. She didn't understand that you lift and pop. You know what I'm saying? Step and pop. She didn't get that. She was flying into people and flopping around everywhere instead of being effective. So her father was the one fighting, and he was trying to give her instructions, and it was cute and all. But they got snatched up, got taken to the cells, and then we run into our dude. We run into our man, Big Daddy Kang himself. Big Daddy Kang showed up and was like, okay. And then we go back to Hope, and Hope is finally like, Janet is finally in a position to tell them what's going on. She went ahead and secured a ride by assaulting the people, like showing them that she is what it is, and gonna give me a ride, and they gave her a ride. And so she finally had an opportunity to tell the story about what had happened. When she came through the first time, she ran into somebody else who came through at the same time. and they were both trapped, and she was like, oh my god, we're trapped together, maybe we can get out of here, your ship is really cool and all. And he was like, yeah, my ship is a multi-dimensional ship, you know, we can get out of here and get it working. He was like, oh, you can get it working? And they were like, yeah, they was rapitating and stuff, you know what I'm saying, they was getting it together, they was cohabitating and rapitating, and they was being friends. And eventually she helped fix his ship, because his ship was a part of him, and she went to plug in the last piece, and she touched his brain, and she saw all the shit that he could do, and she was like, I made a mistake helping you. I should not have done that. Oh darn. I should not have done that, you know what I'm saying? And so Kang, being the Kang that he is, was like, listen, I get that. I told you and I made you a promise that you would go home to your daughter. I would get you home to your daughter if you got my ship working. And she was like, I understand that. But if you take me home, what is that gonna do? You know what I'm saying? I wonder if you take me home, are we still making love, baby? Because I need you tonight. She was like, I just need to understand, are you gonna leave my planet alone? He was like, yes, I will leave your Earth alone, because you're on it with your daughter, Hope. It's like, and so she realizes that she made a giant mistake helping him. And so what she did was she took the energy portion, the energy mechanism from his ship, which is also a part of his mind, and put all the little PIM particles on it and smashed that shit into the ground, and it explosioned him, and it kept him trapped. And she was on the run from him after she did that, and luckily she was able to be scooped up by her family when they came to get her. But because she unleashed, like, he had enough power to get his suit, it was a problem. It was a problem for everybody else in the realm, and they were big pissed at Janet, because they're like, Janet caused this because she gave him enough energy for him to get his suit and for him to become a problem, because he was exiled, and she didn't understand, like, you know, she didn't know. You don't know what you don't know till you know you don't know it. And that's when she found out that shit was she was on the wrong side of the tracks. Okay. And so she's telling everybody this, and they're like, okay, so what do we got to do to stop him? And she was like, we cannot let him get the PIM particles to go fix his energy core, okay? Because if he fixes that energy core, he's going to be able to escape, and when he escapes, he's going to destroy everything he touches, all right? We can't allow that. And so that's the information from Janet. But then we flip back to Scott, and since Scott and Cassie are caught, this is where the movie becomes highly entertaining. We get to meet Big Daddy Kane. Big Daddy Kane shows up, and he's like, listen, let me tell you something. It's February. It's Black History Month. If you haven't noticed, I'm Black. So I said what I said. I just want to let you know, from here on out in this movie, I said what I said. All right. You saw me in the Ebony magazine spread. You saw this. You know what I'm saying? I said what I said. And he talks to Scott, and he was like, hey, Scott, listen. You've got PIM particles, right? I smell it on you. You've got the things that I need to repair my energy core. So what you're going to do is you're going to go out there and get my energy core and repair it for me and hand it back to me, or else I will destroy your kid over there. She's right there. I will destroy her. And Scott is like, you don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to do it. You're not going to force my hand. And he was like, is that the answer you're going with? Is that your final answer? Are you sure that's what you want to go with? He was like, I'm not helping you. I'm standing my ground. I'm like, he's okay. All right. You can stand your ground, but this ain't Florida, dog. This ain't Florida. All right, then I'm going to tell you, let me show you what I'm going to do. So without even being stressed or tense, this motherfucker just throws Ant-Man against the wall and like body tortures him real quick with his veins and shit. And then Cassie is like, you don't go talking about my mama, you know, but with dad in the place of mom. And he is like, you know what? You should sit down and shut the fuck up. And so he starts messing with Cassie. He turns her inside out. He makes her scream. And then Ant-Man is like, I'm gonna need you to stop. And he was like, I'm gonna need you to do what I said. I said what I said. I said what I said. If you're not gonna do the things that I asked you to do, then your daughter's gonna get the business. And she's gonna get the unbusiness, if you know what I'm talking about, because I'm gonna undo her ass. That's what I'm gonna do. So you're gonna do it? That's what I thought. Yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. He's like, I know you're gonna do it. I just surprised that it took you this long to decide. Bitch, I could have killed her. For real, because that's what I'm about. Okay, I'm about putting periods at the end of sentences. You know what I'm saying? I don't need question marks or exclamation points. I'm gonna put that period. It's gonna be finality, okay? It's gonna be a declarative statement. I said what I said. All right, cool. And so Scott gets to the thing where they want him. And he's like, okay, so what do you want me to do? He's like, I need you to go in there and grab my core. And he was like, what does it look like? You'll know it when you see it. And then Cassie breaks away for a little bit and then runs up to her dad and hugs her. Big Daddy Kane allows it. He was like, extra motivation for that situation. I appreciate that. And then Scott jumps down. Scott jumps down into the area where the core is. And the way it works is Janet like exploded it from the inside. So the pieces are really big, but it's like swirling, and what they said was inside was a possibility. It was a bunch of possibilities. So Scott went in there and he was like, okay, whew, all right, I made it. And then he split into two. And then those two split into four, and the four split into eight. And it just kept going. And it was the possibility. Every possible, decision he could have made down there split off into a separate person. So we got to see Baskin Robbins, you know what I'm saying, Scott, with a Jack name tag. Okay. So he is like, I don't understand what we have to do down here. I'm confused. There's so many of us. We're splitting. Nobody knows who the real them is. But the real one is in contact with them above. And throughout this whole entire time, I haven't even brought up MODOK. MODOK was supposed to be some kind of killers. I don't know what they said. Mechanically, organic, dangerous, something. It's supposed to stand for killer, but it was fucking Darren. It was Darren. I'm gonna leave that to the end. So he's in contact with MODOK, aka Darren, and he's trying to explain to him what's going on. He was like, it's the possibility. You're seeing all your possibilities. You just have to get through your possibilities. They're not real. You're the real one. And you just got to go ahead and complete the task that needs to be completed, because if you don't, the longer you stay down there, the worse it's going to get. And Scott didn't understand that. And he was freaking out by seeing all the extra hymns, and all the extra hymns were turning into extra hymns. And it was a lot of Scotts, and they were looking like ants. And so the ants, well, the Scotts, if you will, eventually got their shit together when they heard Cassie, because they were getting ready to smother him. He was like, listen, we got to get the fuck out of here. And so all the other copies lifted the real one that had direct access to the upstairs all the way up to the top, and he threw a PIM particle and it didn't work. And he was like, shit, what am I supposed to do now? But while he was doing that, Janet, Hope, and Hank were on their way down in their separate ship to try to like also use the PIM particles to grab the orb, because Janet knew that this man, Kang the Conqueror, Big Daddy Kane, could not have this core. It was very imperative that he didn't have this core, because if he had this core, he was going to go around and he was going to destroy planets. He was going to kill every fucking body, because he wanted to be the only one. You know what I'm saying? I am the one. I'll be the one. He wanted to do that. He wanted the Backstreet Boys to be the one. So, while he had, like, Scott had just threw it and it just broke, and then you saw Hope come through, and Hope was like, yes, my man, are you real? I'm real, we're real, let's be real together. And she threw a whole bunch of it, and eventually it like shrunk it back down to its regular size, and it dropped to the ground. They were like, oh my gosh, we did it, bitch, we did it. And because they were out of the probability situation, they all came back to the normal. It was just 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. And the problem with that is that so Scott needed the orb to return to Big Daddy Kane so that Big Daddy Kane could release Cassie. And Janet was like, listen, I understand you want to save your daughter. I get it. Blood, you know what I'm saying? It's your child. I mean, you didn't birth your child like I birthed my child, but that is your child, right? But we can't do that. We got to come back for her. Okay? We got to do a wraparound. We got to do a wraparound for my girl because he can't have this orb. He can't. But Kang was like, oh, it shrunk down. The job has been done. So here comes Big Daddy Kang, roll up on everybody. And the only person who was slightly confused was Scott. And so Hope was getting ready to pounce. And Janet was talking to Big Daddy Kang. And Big Daddy Kang was like, oh, look, it's Janet. I don't know why you trust her because I trusted her too. And look where I am. Down here trapped because a bitch trusted a bitch. A black man trusted a white woman. Right? In the year of our Lord 1947, we shouldn't have done that, but we did. And look where we are. Stuck. My name is Chuck. Right? We're stuck. So I don't know what they had thought, and they tried to bum rush Kang, and Kang was like, sit down somewhere, have a couple of seats. So he grabbed his orb and he bounced up to the top. That's all he needed. You know what I'm saying? That's all he needed. Hank crashed somewhere because he was in control of the ship. And Scott was like, I gotta go back there and get my baby girl. I gotta get my family. She was like, we're gonna get your family. We're gonna get you. And while they were running around, I think he snatched Janet as well. And so they went up to the top. And it became a problem. It became a big problem. It became a big problem. Because Big Daddy Kang was big mad. He was like, you shiesty, dirty bitch. I said what I said. I said I was going to spare you. You're not making it easy for me to keep the promises that I had made to spare you if you keep doing stupid shit. So he took her back to his kingdom, if you will. His kingdom, if you will. And he showed her like, listen, with this orb, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And not only am I getting the fuck out of here, I'm getting all these other things I've created the fuck out of here. I'm taking my army with me. We're getting the fuck out. I'm going to destroy it. I'm going to shut shit down because that's my job. Yes. You understand how multidimensional travel works. You understand the timeline. You understand how time is not flow in a straight line, okay? Like, I get that you understand what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is I'm going to be on top. Oh, do you want to be on top? I want to be on top, okay? In order for me to be on top, I got to go out there and kill all the other versions of me. In order to kill all the other versions of me, I got to destroy the world, baby. It is what it is. I'm trying to be the number one, okay? I'm trying to be like Rihanna. You the one? I'm the one. That's what I need. And so here's this is where it gets a little kooky. A little kooky at the end. How Cassie released one of the freedom fighters, and they pretty much ran up through I don't want to call it a castle, but they ran through the facility, got to the broadcast because Kang's getting ready to do his big broadcast about how, you know, I'm that nigga. Black History Month, all right? We're going to take the power of people and we're going to go up there, we're going to reverse it, and we're going to flip it, and we're going to drop it down in the words of Missy. We're going to do that. And in the middle of his speech, and it was interrupted, and Cassie was trying to gather the troops, and he was like, I'm sick of these bitches. I'm sick of these snakes on these motherfucking planes, and all hell broke loose. So we had the freedom fighters who were, well, not the freedom fighters. We had Scott who was running up because Scott was like, that's my baby. That's my seed. That's my child. I'm coming to get my girl. And he bigabized himself and he started running through the city. He was like smashing buildings, knocking stuff over, trying to make his way to Kang the Conqueror. And then we had Hope, who had, like, I don't want to say she minimized herself, but, you know, she turned into her little Wasp ass and was like trying to get through all the stuff. And it was just so many things coming at them. And they were like, we need assistance. And luckily at that time, the resistance came for assistance, if you will. And it was a good ending, like, action sequence. I appreciated that. They were out here getting the business done. They were putting in that work. And Kang was just standing up there like, y'all need to do this, y'all need to do that. Like, he wasn't out there in the field yet. He wasn't pissed enough to be out there in the field until Scott breached the shields and destroyed the it was like a, I don't know how to describe this, but y'all know, y'all see that thing where it's like a sphere and it's like stuff rotating around it. When he destroyed that and it went in and it blew up, Big Daddy Kane was pissed. He was large pissed. And so, so he got his ass down there. Okay. So when he got his ass down there, woo! he was out here killing everybody. He was left and right. His blue beam, I don't know what the fuck that blue beam was, but it was disintegrating people. He was hitting everybody, hitting all the angles. He was like, bow, 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 bow. He was hitting everybody. Everybody was getting that work. And our big giant guy with the flashlight head, he's dead. He's dead. He's deceased. And eventually it got to a point where I think, how do we get to the fight? I don't even remember how we got to the big fight. The ants! That's how, the ants. So Hank Pym was down here minding his business because, you know, when they sucked in the lab, they sucked in some ants as well. And these ants were really smart ants and were building stuff on their own. And the ants were like a species down here now. They were in the quantum realm. They had their electronics. They built up their stuff. They were communicating. They were doing all types of stuff. So they were trying to communicate with Hank. And Hank, you know, they met their ants. They met the ants. They were a civilization. They were huge. And they came in clutch the last possible second to help destroy Big Daddy Kane's shields. And so the ants like ran amok and ran right through. And the freedom fighters was like, yeah, we got a chance. We're going to do this. And Janet was upstairs and she was trying to destroy stuff. And she was trying to like figure out a way to get it working again to get the hell out of here. And she got it working. And then they were like, yes, let's go home. Everybody was like, let's go home. And we had Janet jump through the hoop. We had Hank jump through the hoop. We had Hope jump through the hoop. We had Cassie jump through the hoop. And at the last possible second, you know, Kang was like, y'all motherfuckers will open up a portal. That's all I needed. I'm not even trying to stop y'all from going, but I'm going too. And Scott was like, I can't let you go through there, man. You're dangerous. You're wily. You're crazy. And this is when this part of the movie turned into Creed 3. This is when the movie went from Disney, Ant-Man, Quantumania to Creed 3 with Ryan Coogler. We completely, like, when I tell y'all I was not ready, I mean it. Oh my God. Big Daddy Kane was not playing. He was not playing with Scott. Once Scott decided to do fisticuffs, it was a whole different movie. Oh my God. I mean, it was bad. These hits hurt. You ever watch somebody get hit and you're just like, damn. Every single hit Kang was delivering to Scott was body shots, rocking him in the sock, like rock'em sock'em robots in his face, hitting him in his stomach. He crunched his little arm, he picked it up, he like, bow, he dislocated his arm. He was beating his ass. And Kane was like, you ain't finna stop me. And Scott was like, I don't have to stop you. I don't have to win anything, my guy. I just gotta make sure that you lose. We both lose it. That's what it is. And it was looking dire for Scott there for a second until Hope came through with a bow, 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 and helped knock his ass down and pushed him into his own power core, which was good and bad. Good because it got him the fuck out of the way. Bad because it closed the portal. And then they were stuck for a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, we did it though. We did it. Everyone's free. And let freedom ring, you know? And they were standing on the balcony looking out at the shits and they were like, we did it. Dora the Explorer, we did it. Something Spanish, we did it. And then Cassie went ahead and turned the machine back on and got them the fuck out of there because they were able to map it, I guess. and she was able to open that portal back up. I'm like, if that was the case, then y'all should have had Cassie's ass going in the first place. Y'all could shut it down in the real time, but that's not here nor there. You know what I'm saying? So they went ahead and opened it back up, and they went through, and that was the end. That was the end. That was the end. And then Scott was like, yeah, oh my gosh, we did this in the quantum realm. We helped save the world. But did we actually save the world? Because he said that he was going to try to stop the things that were going to happen. So did I save anybody or not? And I'm like, I did. I don't think you saved anybody. I think you just facilitated his return. I think you facilitated one of the Kangs to come back. Yeah, I did. But that was the end of the movie. And then we had this weird ass credit scene where we got to see all of the Kangs in a arena, and it was just weird. It was super weird. I understand that for comic people you could pick out some stuff, but I'm just like, that whole thing was weird. What should have been the end credit scene was the after credit scene with Loki. That should have been in the credit scene, because we got to see Loki being like, oh my gosh, that is him. And Owen Wilson, I can't remember what his name was in the Loki show, but he was like, is that him? He doesn't look like he's like anything big deal. Like, he doesn't look like he's a problem. And they put him with this 3A wig trying to be Frederick Douglass, but it was 2-3A to hold the Frederick Douglassness of it. Like, Frederick Douglass had this type of hair, so you have to part it. Hold on, let me help you out. So for the Frederick Douglass, you have to like part it, and then you gotta like keep it this way, you know what I'm saying? And then it like poofs out. He was trying to do this, but he didn't have the correct hair texture for it. He had the 3A, and the 3A was bringing too many curls into the Frederick Douglass of it all. But you got to see him as like one of his variants, I guess, as human as he could be, talking about how he could manipulate time, or how if you can learn to control the flow of time, then you control everything. And they're like, are you sure he's the one? He doesn't look like he's like out here doing anything bad. And there's like, oh no, that's it, that's him. And then it said Kang will return. Listen, I went throughout this entire movie review and I skipped a character that, why? That character was MODOK. Why? I'll explain why. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this little thing? But MODOK was just like a running joke. And MODOK was the thing that caused me to have a headache from laughing so hard I was crying. I don't know if he was intentionally supposed to be like that, but I told you what made it so much more funny was the fact that every single time he took his mechanical face off and you got to see that CGI stretched ass face of Darren, and people would be like, Darren, like they don't even call him MODOK, they keep calling him by his government name. That's how disrespectful it is. Like, your ass gets sucked into the quantum realm, you get smunched and munched, sucked into the quantum realm, you get recruited by Kang the Conqueror, you get all this equipment, you have your little baby legs dangling out the front, and every time somebody sees you, they don't see MODOK, they be like, Darren? The tears that were had every single time. I was calling him by his government name the entire time. Okay? The entire time. Every time I saw him, I was like, somebody get Darren off the damn screen. Don't nobody care about Darren. Don't nobody care. And then at the end, he was like, at least I got to be an Avenger. It's like, nah, bro, you didn't get to be an Avenger. Nigga, your ass is Darren. You are Darren with the big head and the baby legs and the stretched face, and nobody likes you, so hurry up and die. Okay. But like, the movie wasn't bad. It wasn't a horrible movie. To me, Thor Love and Thunder was worse. Like, Thor Love and Thunder to me didn't have a purpose. Like, I don't understand what the purpose of Thor, like, I don't get what that was for. This one, I get. Because the Quantumania, like, the quantum realm is very important. And I like that this movie explored it. I like the characters that we met. Like, we got to see Big Daddy Kang in full effect. Well, one of his variants in full effect. And we know it's a problem because we know there's more of him. Loki told us that there was more of him. Matter of fact, the variant in Loki was like, listen, if you kill me, this is what it is. It is what it is. And Sylvie's stupid ass did it anyways because she was like, I had to prove a point because I said I was gonna do it and I did it. And I did it. And I'm just like, all right, Sylvie, you just fucked up everybody else. I really like this movie. It's really funny. I could see myself watching this again just for the laughs. Just for the laughs and like the information and see what's going on with Big Daddy Kane because my guy was dying. Black History Month and he was using his lips, his nose, his chocolatey skin for purpose was to just like dismantle all realms of society so he can be the number one. And I'm not mad at that. So that was my masterful retelling. Literally in almost an hour of Ant-Man and the Quantumania. I didn't think I had it in me, honestly. I thought it would have been less. But shenanigans and tomfoolery afoot. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. I liked it a lot. So on that note, guys, thank you for joining me on this masterful retelling of yeah. Well, yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. I think the next movie is Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's gonna be sad as fuck. I think it's gonna be sad. So on that note, guys, thanks for being with me. Hopefully I will catch you in the next one.